But, I mean, the lightning's not too impressive. It has come down a little bit, but when it does light up, I can still see rotation in this.
Yeah, and Trey, go ahead and give me an update. Tell me again exactly where you are. Now, folks, okay, so now a little bit of a change here now. And let me go back the radar up here just a little bit. And so we're going to track this carefully as this one comes on into the Oklahoma City Metro. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. And so what we don't want to see, I can tell you what we don't want to see right now, is what we would call a classic supercell look like the other storm in northern Oklahoma took on earlier, where we have heavy rain and hail on the northern sides of it and a hook developing on the southern side. So what this right here is this another shower trying to develop right now? We don't know. Or is this maybe something more trying to develop a little back independence? Trey, where are you at exactly? Your GPS is still showing you west of Highway 81. Tell us where you are exactly right now.
I am like not even a half mile, maybe a quarter mile of the Salt Creek Casino on Highway 81. I'm still on 81.
Trey,
look. I don't know if you know where
yeah, we know. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Let me ask you this: look off to your northeast. Look off to your northeast, and tell me what you're seeing off to your northeast there.
I am seeing the striations still from a rotating super thunderstorm, and I do see a lowering, not a very well lowering. It could be a gust front.
Okay, so
what? The lightning's not bright enough.
All right. So we're going to take this minute by minute. We're going to take this minute by minute. And so, you know, this is important information. There's a tornado watch in effect. We're never alarmists. We never hype anything here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We're going to take this minute by minute because we might have some fast changing weather conditions trying to happen here now. And this is important for the Oklahoma City Metro. So we're looking at live velocities here, and we're getting a little bit of spin now on the back end of this. This is mid-level spin. This is nowhere near tornadic. There's no tornado genesis. There's nothing like that happening at all at this minute in time. But just like in northern Oklahoma, I think this is starting to take on a little bit more of a supercell structure. I think we're getting a little bit of spin here on the back end, and I think we might be getting what we're trying to develop into, what might be trying to develop into a bit of a hook on the back end of this. This storm has not been super impressive as we've gone throughout the day. It's been run of the mill. It hasn't really tried to do a lot, but as we're looking at this now, so that's still there even with the new scan, this could be trying to develop a hook on the back end of it. Trey is right here. He's on the back side of it looking at this storm. And again, this has got now some at least broad rotation with it, Trey. These are fast changing weather conditions now. Trey, where are you at again exactly? You may want to hit your GPS and make sure that's updating live. Because again, we want to track this. We want to track this carefully. And Trey, he's live streaming, but it's so dark. There's really not a lot for us to see. And again, you know, there's a tornado watch in effect. And I know anytime we talk about the T word, the tornado word, or mesocyclones or anything like that, again, you know, obviously it gives a lot of people in Oklahoma anxiety, and I understand that completely. And that's why we're tracking this here very carefully. But these are minute-by-minute changes happening now with this storm on the western sides of the metro. And as we're watching this here, and we'll wait for a couple more radar scans to come in, but what it's starting to look to me like a little bit here, folks, is just like in northern Oklahoma. If you've been watching us throughout the day and the evening, that cell up there in northern Oklahoma, it was a classic supercell with heavy rain and hail to the north, and then we had a developing hook on the backside. And, you know, I don't want to say it, but I think that's what might possibly be what's trying to happen with this one. And the storm to the north, up there by Medford that Travis Sheets was on earlier, it never produced a tornado, and we're nowhere near that criteria here with this one at all. But again, I think we're getting a heavy rain hail core developing here, and we might have a very weak area now of mid-level spin trying to develop on the back side of this one. And that's very important for the Oklahoma City Metro, the southern sides of the Metro, and more. So we're going to track this and again see what kind of evolves here. But again, you can see over the last 3 radar scans, that little back end appendage has not gone away. It's continued to be there. The warning now extended into parts of really Oklahoma County and parts of northern Cleveland County. You just saw that as well. Trey, where are you at again? Go and tell us exactly where you are again.
I am practically in front of the Salt Creek Casino on Highway 81.
Are you able to get to the east on that? Because what you need to do, you're on the back end of that, and I know that's a north-south highway, but I really need you to get to the west on this one now. And so if you can find a road to get to the west of it and get out in front and south of Tuttle. You need to do that now because you're on the back end of it, and that it passed to the north of you, and you had a great shot of it earlier. But if there's any way for you to get east, you need to kind of try and rapidly get east on this storm now. So this is important now. Okay, so let's take a look at velocities again here. And so for our friends here on the southwestern sides of the Oklahoma City Metro, this is important information now. We have developing rotation. We have developing rotation now. This is on the southwestern sides of the Metro between Minco and Tuttle. This storm that's basically kind of been a run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm, nothing to get worked up about, it's now starting to hit some of that environment that we've been talking about that's going to be a little more conducive for spin. Now, when I say conducive for spin, that means mesocyclone activity or spin within the storm. That does not mean that it's going to produce a tornado or there's going to be any tornadic activity. But at this moment in time, and in fact over the last 5 minutes, you've seen it live here, we have that developing hook on the backside, and in fact now you're seeing this broad rotation. This is mid-level rotation, nothing to get worked up about right now. But again, if you're living in the southwestern sides of the Metro, even from downtown Oklahoma City all the way down through Moore and Norman, this is important information. You need to really watch this storm. This may not do any more than produce wind and hail, but again, you can see that's a firming hook there on the end. And we've seen that now here over the last 10 minutes. So this is a firming up hook, and this is taking on the same structure as what we saw in northern Oklahoma, that storm up there by Medford that Travis was on. This is a developing supercell. This is a supercell now, actually. Heavy rain, hail through here, and again, here's a developing hook now on the back end of that. This is important information. That doesn't mean it's going to produce a tornado, but again, there is a tornado watch in effect, and this storm is now taking on supercell characteristics. So Trey Smith is on this one. Trey, go ahead and give us an update. Tell us where you are. I hope you're trying to get east on this, and give us an update on this cell there in northern Grady County.
Yeah, I am trying to reposition real quick. I am actually coming into... hold on, I need to see the building to tell you where I'm at.
Okay, so while you're doing that, and that's fine, are you able to get east yet? I know you were on 81.
I'm actually coming into Pocasset.
Okay, so as I kind of back this up, folks, we're going to loop this in time. Look at that developing hook there. And again, that's going to be there over the last 10 to 15 minutes. So again, we don't want to alarm anybody. There's no tornado warning in effect at all. Again, we're talking about a lot of people here in the Oklahoma City Metro. And again, a lot of people get anxiety with these kind of things. I get that completely, trust me. But again, we are tracked carefully again with this. We'll call these fast changing weather conditions now on the backside of this, and this is now a bona fide supercell coming into the Oklahoma City Metro, at least with a wind and hail threat right now and a tornado watch in effect. Trey, I'm going to pull up your live video. I think it's still fairly dark. I don't think we're really able to see much from it. Let's go and take a look at that.
Just let you know, I turned it off.
Okay, that's fine. It's so dark. It's so dark that's fine. Yeah, if you get in more of an urban area, then you know where there's more lights, and that's fine to go and turn it back on. But it was so dark earlier, that's fine as well. But folks, over the last 15 minutes, and we're just taking this play by play. We're taking this minute by minute, second by second with you. You've seen this more from, again, what I was calling a fairly basic generic severe thunderstorm. This is now morphing into a supercell. You can see basically the corkscrew motion there. You've seen the hook develop there within the last 15 minutes. And the bad part of this is that it is on the southwestern sides of the Metro. Now, the storm earlier that we had, the big supercell up there in northern Oklahoma, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but that one never produced the tornado that Travis was on up there. So, so far today, we have no tornadoes in Oklahoma. That is the good news. But this cell here now entering the southwestern sides of the Metro, it does have a hook on it, and this is a little more concerning for our friends here on the southwestern sides of the Metro. So again, you can see that hook really coming around now too. So officially from the Weather Service, no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. But again, that hook now coming around on the back side of this developing supercell. Our storm tracker, Trey Smith, he's on it right there. He's just on the southern sides. He's trying to get to the east, and he's on the live line with us, and he's going to give us a play-by-play of, again, anything he's seeing there or any important information with this. But let me go and tell you this. We're going to zoom this in a little bit tighter. This is broad rotation here, where you're seeing the reds and the greens matching. This is what we call a couplet right here. The reds and the greens. It's not a high velocity couplet. We're not getting bright greens. We're not getting bright reds. So again, right now, the reason why we're not alarmed with this at all, even though this is a developing supercell here now, is that, again, we're not getting what we call a high velocity couplet. There's no strong gate-to-gate shear that we're seeing. But again, this is developing rotation. And again, it's on the back end of that storm. And again, that is tracking now up into the Oklahoma City Metro. Let's go back to reflectivity, and in fact, let's take a look at the hail core tracker, because that's going to be the other thing that we need to worry about here. And there's going to be an opportunity still. The hail core doesn't look too out of control. Looks like some quarter-size hail there over the Tuttle area. So quarters in Tuttle, and again, right now that storm looks like it's still only producing some quarter-size hail. Let's go back to reflectivity here. And as we do that, again, man, so that hook continues to intensify there on the back end of it. So we're continuing to track that there. Let me go and kind of walk you through time. And this is, and folks, when I say fast changing weather conditions, this loop right here starts at 7:48. It's now 8:01. From 7:48 to 8:01, look at that hook develop. Look at that. That's fast changing weather conditions. And that's what we've been saying throughout the day, is that the atmosphere, it's going to become a little more conducive for mesocyclone activity as we head into the evening. And this is what this is. This is a mesocyclone. Mesocyclones don't always produce tornadoes. Sometimes they'll produce big hail and wind and things like that. They don't always produce tornadoes. And again, just like in northern Oklahoma earlier, that didn't produce a tornado. But again, these are fast changing weather conditions. It's happening right there over the Tuttle area. Let's zoom in on this a little bit closer. So Trey, I know you're still on it. Our storm tracker, Trey Smith, tell us where you are again and give us an update. If you're still on the live line with us, we may have lost Trey there temporarily. Trey, are you still there with us? Okay, if not, we'll check back in with Trey. It looks like we actually literally just lost Trey there. So Trey, he'll be calling back in here in just a second, and we'll be checking back in with him momentarily. But again, our storm tracker is right there on it. We're not taking his video feed just for the fact it's so dark. Again, where this cell is currently. But again, we'll be making contact with Trey again here in just a second. Now, what I want to do, I wanted to kind of take a closer look at this here. And again, some of the more rural communities here that could maybe be impacted by this. And again, right now, this is only a wind and hail threat. And when I say wind and hail, I mean quarter-size hail. And again, this is going to be from Tuttle up through Mustang. That's going to be partially Canadian County, and then potentially over into parts of Cleveland and southern Oklahoma County as well. Again, this is a supercell. There is a hook on it. We've seen this this storm basically morph really over the last 15 minutes or so. And again, it's taken on more supercell characteristics. Again, not to say that it's going to do anything at all as far as any type of tornadic activity, but again, right now, at least it's producing heavy rain and again, that quarter-size hail threat. So what I want to do, I want to back off from this one real quick, and just real quick here. And there's the newest scan coming in right there, folks. So we're still tracking this one carefully. Our friends up in northern Oklahoma, I want to take a look up there real quick. I'm not going to move the radar. I'm going to take a different radar source for northern Oklahoma. We're going to get Trey Smith back on the live line here again momentarily. We'll be checking back in with him. But I want to take a look up in northern Oklahoma real quick. Because again, at least severe weather does continue up there as well. Severe thunderstorm warnings up there for Grant County, also for Garfield County around the Enid area. From Medford down through Enid, again, you can see those are fairly strong storms. That's where we had the other supercell earlier today that never produced a tornado, just produced some fairly large hail. And again, severe weather does continue up there in northern Oklahoma for our friends there. Again, quarter-plus size hail, if not half-dollar size hail, quite likely up there. Very heavy rain and intense lightning is the main threat up there in northern Oklahoma. Now I want to come back down here to the Oklahoma City Metro here as well. And as we take a look at that, this is our supercell that again is now developing here on the southwestern sides of the metro. And when I say supercell, that means a couple different things. That means it's a strong storm. It's out here by itself. It's producing hail, and it's also producing wind, some quarter-plus size hail possible. Mesocyclone or supercells don't always produce tornadoes. They generally have mesocyclones. That's what defines them. This does have a mesocyclone developing on the back end of it, but again, that does not mean it's going to produce a tornado. There's no tornado warning in effect at all for the Oklahoma City Metro. In fact, only a severe thunderstorm warning with this storm. So it is quite severe. We are tracking it carefully. I mean, if you've lived in Oklahoma, you know what a hook looks like, and you see that there's now a hook that has developed within the last 15 minutes on the back end of that cell. But again, what exactly that's going to mean here over the next 20 to 30 minutes, again, your guess is as good as mine. Again, the atmosphere, there is some spin in the atmosphere. That's why we do have that tornado watch in effect. But again, there's a lot of days we have tornado watches and we never have tornadoes. There's a lot of days we have supercells, just like earlier today, and we never have a tornado. So all we can do is really hope for the best. And that's what we're hoping for with this storm. But again, this is a supercell. And again, for you folks there in southwestern Oklahoma City, again, this is important information that, again, you are tracking that storm, again, very carefully there as well. Now, our storm tracker, Trey Smith, he's been on that storm. We lost him off the live line here temporarily. We are going to get him back on the live line here within just the next few minutes. I'm just adjusting my earpiece right now, actually. Let's go ahead and zoom this out a little bit, and we'll take more of a general perspective of exactly where this is. And again, this is moving in on the southwestern sides of the metro. And again, you can see the counties in green. That is a tornado watch that's in effect. And again, that's in effect for a large portion of Oklahoma, basically up and down the I-35 corridor there. And then we have the severe weather ongoing across parts of north central Oklahoma. And then again, we have this new severe weather, we'll call it, across parts of the southwestern sides of the Oklahoma City metro. And again, this is now what we would call a supercell. And again, that's coming in on the southwestern sides of the metro. That's something we're tracking, again, very carefully. Our team of trackers has been out. Travis Sheets earlier brought us some fairly dynamic video up there across parts of north central Oklahoma, close to the Medford area where that supercell moved earlier. And now Trey Smith is on this cell here on the southern sides of the Oklahoma City metro as well. So looks like we're just checking back in with a Trey here. And as we're doing that, we're just getting him back on the live line here. And again, we'll get his perspective. Again, that's part of our team of trackers, our fast track storm team. And again, he has eyes on that. I think it just got so rural there for a minute that we lost him. But again, we'll be getting him right back here momentarily. So this is what you need to know. If you live in the southwestern sides of the metro, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. And again, that's for parts of southern Oklahoma County, also for parts of northern Cleveland County. That does include basically the Will Rogers area, the Will Rogers Airport area, and it does include the I-240 area. It does include Valley Brook. It does include the Moore area as well, maybe far north Norman there. So we've got Trey back on the live line. Trey, I want to talk to you. I know we lost you there just momentarily, but as you're kind of catching back up with this storm, tell us what you're seeing, because again, the structure with this storm is still a little concerning. Go ahead and give us an update.
I haven't actually been really able to see much due to being in town, but I am seeing the lightning picking back up on that, and just from what I was able to see a while ago on Doug's radar on his phone, it is picking up in intensity again, in my opinion.
And go and give me an update. Where are you guys at now? I know you're kind of stuck on Highway 81 there for a minute. Where are you guys at right now?
We just got on Highway 37 out of Binko, heading to Tuttle.
Okay, so that's good. So you guys are now tracking eastbound. So obviously the area of rotation, the area of concern is going to be just a little bit south of that right there. So you guys are having to just kind of reposition a little bit. I get that, because again, it gets fairly hard to navigate there across parts of northern Grady County. So again, you guys are coming out of Minko. You're heading towards the Tuttle area, I believe, is what you just said. Again, that's where some area of concern is, at least right now. And again, as we take a look at velocities here, let's go back to velocities, and if you can, just kind of hang on the phone with us there, Trey. And again, as you're trying to catch back up with this. But at least right now, at this moment in time, the good news is, as we're looking at this storm, again, with this tornado watch in effect, we've always got to take a look at the velocities within the storm to see if there is anything more concerning than just wind and hail. And again, right now, we're not seeing that. I'm not seeing any couplets here. I'm not showing any indications of any type of, again, at least strong mesocyclone activity that could at least lead to any kind of tornadic activity. So we have none of that happening at all. Again, this is just basically a supercell. Now it's coming in on the southwestern sides of the metro. We've got to take it seriously because it does have that hook on it. But again, right now, at least, again, looking at live mesoscan radar, again, there's nothing at least concerning with this storm as far as any type of tornadic activity, nothing like that imminent at all. Again, this right now, at least, is just wind and hail. Let's take a look at the hail core tracker here. And as we also take a look at this, again, we'll just kind of take a look at the hail sizes. And again, where that red is going to yellow, that's still mainly quarter-size hail. We're not really getting a lot of large hail out of this storm either. So again, this is still an opportunity for quarters that basically track through the Tuttle area. Now, if you do live in the Oklahoma City metro, definitely keep in mind this hail threat as well as this moves on through. If you do have your car outside, now's the time to definitely put it in the garage or put it in at least a place where it's not going to get hammered by hail. So we're not talking about extremely large hail. This is mainly quarters, maybe some half dollars mixing in there. But again, the threat of larger hail is also there even as we go through the evening. So again, these are just fast changing weather conditions that again, we all have to stay abreast to. Let's go back to reflectivity here. And as we do that, again, we still see this, again, severe thunderstorm, the supercell that continues to move into the metro. And Trey, I know you're on the back side of it. I know your video's off right now just for the fact it's so dark where you are. We're not really able to see what you're seeing. But as you're kind of catching back up with the storm now coming out of Minko there, at least give us an update. As the lightning kind of lights up the sky, what are you seeing there in the distance? Are you seeing, with your experience as a storm tracker, what are you seeing there in front of you?
pretty much I can just see the back edges of the rain curtains. I really haven't gotten a bright enough flash of lightning to see any detail on this anymore, but that's pretty much it. I can't see anything right now. Curb in the road.
Okay, and as you're catching back up with it, you'll be able to give us a better perspective. And again, folks, you just have to kind of bear with us. Again, out there in northern Grady County, sometimes it's a little hard to get around, so he's having to navigate that. And again, he's having to catch back up with that. I want to break from central Oklahoma just real quick. I want to talk about northern Oklahoma for our friends up there. And Trey, just kind of hang with us here, and we're going to check back in with you as you get a little bit closer to that cell. You also may hit your GPS. It looks like your GPS may be hung up there as well. So you may want to check that. Now up here in north central Oklahoma, I want to take a look up here around the Enid area. And these are severe storms and an opportunity for some quarter-size hail definitely possible. Kremlin all the way down through Enid. We get a lot of people that watch us from the Enid area. You folks up there, definitely quarter-size hail. You see those hot pinks moving on in through Enid right now. Wacomas all the way back now on the eastern sides of Lahoma. All severe through here. Heavy rain, intense lightning you're seeing there as well with this. And again, that opportunity for at least some quarter-size hail, again, with that activity right there. And then as we go just a little bit further to the north here, we'll take a look up here across parts, and this is what's left of that supercell we had earlier that Travis Sheets was covering. He did a phenomenal job with that. Again, that supercell was wrapped up. It had a very impressive hook on it. The storm had some very impressive structure that Travis brought us live, but the good news is it never produced a tornado in north central Oklahoma, so that's great. But that's all that's left of it now. But this is still quite severe up here from Deer Creek up through Brahman. Again, that's northern K County there, moving towards the Blackwell area. Again, severe weather through here, quarters possible, heavy rain and intense lightning there as well. So again, severe weather ongoing across parts of north central Oklahoma. But the other thing that we're concerned about here as well is that, again, the cell on the southwestern sides of the Oklahoma City metro. And again, if you've lived in Oklahoma very long, you know what a supercell looks like. And again, this is unfortunately a supercell here. Again, no imminent tornado threat with any of this activity you're seeing here in central Oklahoma at all. However, there is, again, that hook echo. This is a very pronounced hook echo, and again, this can be an ominous look to a lot of people out there, and I completely understand that. But again, right now, at this point in time, this is a supercell with the hook, but again, no imminent tornado threat. This is quarter to $half size hail, and winds near 70 miles per hour could be possible as this moves on into the metro. But what this means for you, if you live in the southwestern sides of the metro, you have to stay weather aware because these are fast changing weather conditions. There's a tornado watch in effect, and just because at this point in time, we don't want to alarm anybody, but just because at this point in time there's no imminent tornado threat with this supercell, that doesn't mean that it can't change, and it can't change quick. So again, that's really, really important information that we need to know as this is moving into a fairly densely populated area of Oklahoma. So Trey Smith is on the back end of this, our storm tracker. His live stream, we'll check in with that later. It's just too dark to see anything on it where he is. But Trey, give us an update. What are you seeing out there?
I am seeing some scud hanging down from the back. That was kind of ominous looking. I have noticed as I'm now coming into Tuttle, I believe, I have noticed some of the bar ditches are quite full. Possibly
hey Trey, say that one more time. I missed that last part. You noticed that what now?
Some west of Tuttle, that some of the ditches were kind of full on of water.
Yeah, this is a heavy rain producer for sure. Yeah, no, this is definitely a heavy rain producer. Now, if you're in Tuttle, Trey, let me tell you this: if you're in Tuttle, and I'm not from the radar here, I can't see exactly the thoroughfares where you can navigate. If you're in Tuttle, I wouldn't go much further to the east. If you can, try and dip down. I know you're seeing the radar there as well. You're right where you need to be. I can tell you that because you're right there in that little hook area, and that's going to be the area of concern. You're going to be right there in the inflow notch or on the back end of it. Generally, we like our storm trackers on the front end of it, but again, Trey had to reposition. There was just no roads for him to get to the east on. So as you're kind of repositioning there, if you can, I don't know if you can dip to the south and then over to the east, but again, try and get out in front of this just as we bring this on in. And I tell you what, folks, for you folks over here from Newcastle up through Moore, up through Valley Brook, the Will Rogers Airport area, I-240, even south of Mustang there, you've really got to pay attention to this one because it just looks ominous. Right now, there's no imminent tornado threat. This is only a severe thunderstorm warning. But folks, we've been through this drill so many times in Oklahoma. We know that these supercells can rapidly intensify. And again, we can have fast changing weather conditions. So I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say that anything more than wind and hail is going to happen here over the next 30 minutes. But this is a supercell. This is a strong hook, and it's moving towards the Moore area. We're going to go and say that it is moving towards the Moore area and also up across parts of the southern sides of Oklahoma County. You've got to be on guard. You've got to be on guard for this one here because fast changing weather conditions can happen fast. And we know that here in Oklahoma. And so let's go and take a look at velocities again. And Trey, as you're getting closer, feel free to give me any kind of information you have. But let's take a look at velocities here. And again, at least the good news at this point in time, we're not getting any, at least super concerning velocities out of this, any areas of, again, intense spin motion out of this. So again, hopefully we just have a supercell that comes through, produces maybe some quarter, $half size hail, and we get some wind, and that's it. And again, of course, we never want wind and hail either, but I'm just saying, hopefully that's all we get out of this, and everything just goes on the rest of this Tuesday evening. But this is a little ominous looking, and we are tracking it very carefully here at Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Trey Smith, our storm tracker, is on this, and again, he's tracking it very carefully. I think we're getting some fairly strong rear flank downdraft on the back end of it, Trey, right there around the Tuttle area where you are. If you're still on the live line with us, tell me what your winds are. This little marker we're getting here, this is going to be the rear flank downdraft coming around, and a lot of times that's good news. A lot of times that RFD will cut off any type of a tornadic activity, and that may be, we almost have a little donut hole. I think that's from the RFD on the back end of it, and that may be great news.
Yeah, I just passed the city hall, and the flags were standing still.
Okay.
I do have some minor flooding in Tuttle here.
But as you get out of Tuttle, and I hate to interrupt you there, Trey, as you get out of Tuttle,
William, I have sirens in Tuttle.
Okay, you have sirens in Tuttle. So I'm not surprised that they're blowing the sirens again. When you have a hook like this coming through, even though officially there's no tornado warning in effect, I'm not surprised that the emergency managers are blowing the sirens just to err on the side of caution. Okay, so I'm not surprised by that at all. Trey, I think we can hear them in the background. We can hear them, folks. You can hear them there in the background. So sirens are sounding in Tuttle. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so, it's a good precautionary measure. Even though there's no tornado warning in effect, it's a good precautionary measure there with that. But Trey, as you get a little bit further to the east, and I don't want to jinx this, but I think this could be good. I think we're getting rear flank downdraft motion on the back end of this, and a lot of times that'll occlude some of these circulations, and that may be what we're getting on the back end of that. That's what it looks like on that scan, and Trey will know. Trey, as you get a little bit further to the east, let me know what your winds are doing as you get further to the east.
Okay.
But again, for you folks there in Tuttle, just like Trey said, the sirens are sounding in Tuttle. And Trey, if you get where it's, I know you're driving through town, so if it's light where you are, if there's road lights where you are, turn your stream back on so we can at least stream that live and show people where you are. Earlier it was just so rural and so dark there was nothing we could do. So let me know if you're able to do that. And you see that hook, it looks a little more ragged. So I think that RFD is coming around and cutting it off right now. See how that hook's looking more ragged? That's that RFD trying to come around, I think, on it. Let's go and take a look at the velocities. Yeah, I think that RFD, and that sometimes that can be a brief moment in time. That doesn't always mean anything. But I will tell you, on the southerly flank of that, we are still getting some broad circulation. So this is broad circulation. We're getting a couple little hot pixels where I think that RFD was. And again, that might be trying to cut this off, but at least some broad circulation right there, still north of Bridge Creek. No tight rotation, which is good. No tight rotation, which is good.
I do have what looks like a little bit of a wall cloud to my just to my left here.
Okay, and if you're able to get any kind of visual on it, Trey, if we're able to even see it with the lightning, go and pop your stream up and we'll take that live. We don't.
Stream should be live.
Okay, let's go and take your stream then, and we don't we just want to take this real seriously. That's the only thing here in the southern sides of the Oklahoma City Metro. Here going on 8/19 on this Tuesday evening. And hopefully as we go through the evening, everything goes along peacefully. We have a minor severe thunderstorm that moves through with, again, $half size hail and wind. This is a supercell, but hopefully that's all it does. And again, we go through our Tuesday evening with no complications. But again, we know it's Oklahoma. We know it's Oklahoma weather. And we know things can change very quickly. And again, we do have the supercell moving into the southern sides of the metro. So Trey, I'm getting your stream pulled up. Let me go ahead and start it from here. And as we do that, and you're now east of the Tuttle area. Is that right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, so just a little bit. And how are your winds there? Did you get any kind of RFD activity where you are there? Any kind of strong wind action?
I have winds out of the south at the moment.
You have winds out of the south. Okay, that RFD would be north of, or it would be east of where you are now. So there's Trey's live shot. Again, we're not able to see a whole lot with this, folks. I know a lot of times people like to see the live pictures. They don't necessarily like to see the radar. But this evening, when the stream is fairly dark, there's not a lot going on. We may stick with the radar a little bit more because, again, these fast-changing weather conditions, folks, you absolutely, again, have to keep track of this. So, again, we do have that supercell moving in now on the southwestern sides of the metro. And, again, we're tracking it carefully. This is Trey. He's in Tuttle. He's on the back end of it. And, Trey, go ahead and give us just a quick update. I'm going to look over just a quick piece of information here in the forecast center. Give us a quick update again with what you're seeing. And I just saw a big time cloud of ground there in your foreground. Go and give us an update though.
Yeah, lightning has definitely picked up on this storm since I was last able to get my stream up. But yeah, I have winds out of the south at the moment. I do have a little bit of a rotation that kind of looks like a wall cloud at the moment. I can't see due to some of the trees at the time. If you're having trouble, William, tracking my GPS, try looking for Doug. He has his on. Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, we'll check those here in a minute. Your GPS, it's fine. I mean, it didn't update, but that's fine. That's not a big deal right now. What I want to do real quick, Trey, and I know you're just going to stick on the live line here with us. We're going to kind of just walk this again step by step what we have going, because this is trying to intensify just a little bit more here now. I want to go back to velocities, and Trey, if you can, try and get to the east as fast as you can and get out in front of this thing if you can. And if you can, do it safely. Now, two things here that we're still seeing. And this may still be good. This may still be good. Awesome. Say that again, Trey.
Oh, sorry, there's a big cloud around lightning strike.
Okay, so we've still got an area of spin here. We've still got an area of spin, but it's just not super intense, and that's good. This is the way we like it. This is good that we don't have an area of super intense spin with this. We have this supercell moving in, but again, as we're taking a look at live velocities here, again, we just don't have, again, an area of spin. So this is an ominous looking storm. If you live in the Oklahoma City metro, this looks very ominous. We've seen a lot of these kind of storms before. These supercells with these hooks on them. This is a classic supercell, but just like we had earlier up near the Medford area, and I don't want to jinx things, but earlier up near the Medford area, we had a very similar looking storm that Travis Sheets was on, and it never produced a tornado, and that was great news. But again, if you're just looking at this on radar, here in the Oklahoma City metro, again, this is concerning. There's no tornado warning in effect at all. There's only a tornado watch. But again, this is a supercell producing $half size hail. Again, winds over 60 to 70 miles per hour. And then again, we do have this hook with at least medium, mid-level rotation with it. Now, we've got Trey Smith, our storm tracker. He is on this. And again, he is tracking this carefully. You see his live video. It's just so dark. It's kind of hard to stick with that for too long. But Trey, go ahead and give us an update as you're getting closer now in this storm.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Yeah, I'm getting closer to this. I'm actually going to be turning south on 4 here, I believe is what Doug was telling me to turn.
Okay, yep.
A while ago, and drop south on this a little bit, and then go east.
Okay.
But lightning has definitely increased on this. I'm still seeing that ominous looking, people are looking out and they see an ominous low-hanging cloud. I am definitely still seeing that.
Okay, and I'm just looking at data here that continues to come in. And I don't want to jinx things, but I just think that as we go back to velocities, and as we actually, let me put this back into normal mode, and I'm going to kind of talk about this may sound a little weather nerdy, but try and follow me here, folks. So as we kind of loop this through about the last 15 minutes, you see that fairly pronounced hook. And then as we go over the last 15 minutes, you see the hook become a little more raggedy. And I think that's because what we have is I think we've had what's called rear flank downdraft winds. Rear flank downdraft winds earlier, as it was just east of Tuttle, that came around, and it's called occluding the mesocyclone. And I think that's what's happened. I think that's why this is a little more ragged. A lot of can be a temporary thing. Sometimes the rotation can come back a little bit, but at least right now there's not real strong rotation. The hook looks very raggedy, and again, I think that rear flank downdraft, that RFD, I think that's occluded. I think that happened about maybe 5 to 10 minutes ago when I was talking to Trey about that. So that would be best case scenario again with this Supercell. So never a tornado warning with it, never really even strong rotation with it, but again, just the structure of this storm. Again, it just had that supercell characteristic with that very pronounced hook, and that very pronounced hook, the whole storm here, and again, this is important information, again, is continuing to track towards the more South Oklahoma City area. So we can't let our guard down at all. Tornado watch is in effect, and again, anytime you see a supercell like this, you've got to be concerned. But again, officially, no tornado warning in effect, and nothing that would even lead us to believe that the storm was ever close to producing a tornado or near tornado genesis at all. The mesocyclone rate has never really been in the high category at all with this. We just had some medium spin with this storm a little bit earlier. Trey Smith is still there, our storm tracker. He's now east of Tuttle. He's dropping south on this storm. Again, it's fairly dark to see anything in his live stream, but Trey, we're still counting on you there for that play-by-play. Go ahead and give us an update. Tell us what you're seeing with the storm now.
Not really seeing anything at the moment because I'm driving away from it and trying to have a hard time staying on the road a little bit. So looking over my shoulder.
Okay, and have you gotten any rear flank downdraft winds where you've been? I know as you came out of Tuttle there. I mean, have you had any high velocity winds on the back end of that at all?
I wouldn't say high velocity, maybe like 20 mile an hour.
Okay. So you really haven't experienced that rear flank downdraft at all. And folks, I know again his stream is extremely dark. We're trying to stick a little bit more with radar, only because again it's nighttime. It's really hard